What about John Lynch? One
Okay.
thing that was interesting about this game, the Seahawks, it was a first play knockout. Their kick returner returns the kickoff for 95 yards touchdown. They traded for him the day of the trade deadline. And it kind of highlights what a great job their general manager, John Schneider, did this year. Traded for Shaheed. He was really important. You signed Sam Darnold. That was a wise investment. They've been drafting so well over the last few years, which is why their defense is so good and so young. And then you got John Lynch, a guy who has been here a long time. If they were to fire him today, I'm not sure he would get another job as a general manager in the NFL. Uh, do you think they should fire John Lynch?
I don't know what his contract status is.
I think he's got one more year left on it. So I think he's going into a lame duck year. 2026 is the end for him.
Okay.
They could just let it expire.
Yeah. Again, I don't think they're going to fire him because the way the Yorks think, this was a successful season. And in many ways it was.
Yep.
So they're not going to say, John's really not that good on the draft. John is more of a spokesman for the team. He's a Stanford guy. He has got a nice smile. He knows people's names, although he never uses your name anymore because
Not anymore.
You criticize him. But I think he's fundamentally a good guy. So he gives the organization a certain Stanford cachet, which is nice. Do I think he's a good general manager? I don't think he's as good as the guy with the Rams. I don't think he's as good as the guy with Seattle. And those are both in their division. I think he's more of a face man than a general manager. Do you agree, Iggy?
Yeah. And I think that's why the Niners have fallen behind the other teams in the NFC West. We'll talk about where they rank. I mean, it's obvious, but the biggest difference between the Seahawks and the Niners isn't necessarily coaching. The Niners have good coaches. Maybe not as good as Seattle, but the Niners have good coaches. Niners have a good quarterback. The biggest difference is the Niners don't seem to have a good general manager, where the Seahawks have a great one. The Rams have a great one. Les Snead's been there a long time. He's excellent. Schneider's excellent. John Lynch, I mean, is he – I don't even know what he does. Does he make the picks? Is it Kyle Shanahan? Whatever the system is, whatever the setup is with the Niners, it's not that great. And if they were to fire John Lynch, which they won't, but if they were to fire John Lynch today, I think it'd be smart to go hire someone from Seattle or, the Rams and acknowledge that maybe their front offices are better, but they won't. And then, there's so many issues with this team. They signed Luke Farrell. That was their big signing this offseason. He's terrible. They signed Yetur Gross-Matos last year. He's hurt all the time and does nothing. Their signings aren't good. Nothing against Ricky Pearsall. Maybe he'll be good, but you took him in the first round, and he had no yards yesterday, no touchdowns the entire year. You took him. So you have to hit like a bunch of picks this year and next year to catch up to the Seahawks, maybe? Is Lynch going to be the guy? Is he going to draft as well as John Schneider next year or better? I don't know. That's why I feel like it's not so encouraging. Like you have to really rebuild and reset your roster, and John Lynch is in charge of that.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I'm going to say something else about Schneider. He not only drafted or acquired really good players, he acquired people who will hurt you.
Yep.
That was a football game yesterday, Iggy. It wasn't about finesse. They hurt the 49ers. They knocked CMC out of the game, essentially knocked him out of the game, even though he came back. And Tonjes, on the ride back last night, there were guys who were injured. They're saying, we're going to kick your ass. We're not only going to beat you, we're going to kick your ass. And we're in your division, and we're going to kick your ass twice. That's a very scary prospect. And Lynch, who is a tough player, has not put together a tough team. They're soft.
It's true.
They're a soft team.
It's true. Yeah. They were tough a few years ago, but they're absolutely soft now.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially on offense. They're going to get guys back on defense, but that's one of the softest offenses. It's a finesse offense. It's one of the softest offenses, and that's the kind of offense that Seattle's going to kick your ass.
John Schneider essentially fired Pete Carroll, who won a Super Bowl with Seattle. That took a lot of guts. And he replaced him with another defensive coach, and he was the right hire. That took a lot of brains. A lot of guys would just hire an offensive play caller. You got like the best defensive coach in the league. And then You did another thing that was controversial. They got rid of Geno. They loved Geno in Seattle. He was a great story. He was written off, and he found his way back in Seattle. Got rid of him, signed Darnold for cheaper. He was not a good story, right? The narrative on Darnold, he's a freaking loser. The Vikings thought that. Now the Vikings fell apart, and Schneider saw through all of that. He was like, no, this guy's actually good. The narrative is all wrong about him. I don't care about the narrative. I can actually spot talent. And they're winning with Sam Darnold, who's perfectly fine. He's a good quarterback, apparently. I mean, I thought he was a klutz and a mistake waiting to happen. He wasn't the quarterback on the field that was that yesterday.
Yeah. So I guess you're saying you think Schneider is a better GM than John Lynch.
Yeah, and I don't see how the Niners close the gap with the Seahawks with Lynch in charge. I mean, he built this team. It's Bosa, Kittle, McCaffrey, Warner, Williams. Those are all guys that you got like 5 to 7 to 8 years ago. Where's the next wave? Because that's all Seattle is next wave. That's all the Rams are, is players they've got in the last 3-4 years. And you're still hoping that Trent Williams can play 17 games last year. Guess what? He won't.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think, let me summarize. They're not going to fire John Lynch. They'll probably let him play out one more season. But you and I are unimpressed.
Yeah. And it's like, it's what the Yorks will do. It was a successful season. Let's not overreact. But by being a little slow to act here, you're going to let John Lynch have a whole nother offseason. Free agency, drafts. Who's he going to let go? Who's he going to re-sign? Is he going to bring back Jawan Jennings? Is he going to spend another first-round pick on a wide receiver who isn't good? Like, it's kind of urgent. But maybe he'll do a good job.